Hi, my name's Norman Growden. I was a skipper of the last vessel, Seabird P283, which sank in the Solent on the 23rd of April at 2:45 p.m. The vessel took 6 minutes to go down from the time of sending out a mayday to being recovered. Story before that was I was brought up at sea. I started at sea with my parents. My grandfather was in the Royal Navy, so working at sea was very appealing to me, which I enjoyed quite a lot. After then I went into long line fishing in the Mediterranean and net fishing on another vessel called Minoni, which lasted for quite a few years, and it was, something that you can't take away of a person. It's a different world altogether. It's an office of your own. We've got the red skies, the blue skies, the orange skies, and nothing else is around you. It's just unexplainable to anyone that does 9 to 5 work. They have no idea. They call us crazy because we go in all kinds of weather, but it's a job that we have to do. If we don't do it, fish prices will go up. Then the battle starts. We never get paid kind of prices that are sold in the retail office. We always get paid a lower rate, a very lower rate. So for us to go out in all kinds of weather is very, very important. Otherwise, we're not going to make ends meet. Middleman always makes the money. We struggle. Since then, I think it's been about 6 years after that, I went into the pub business for a short period of time, where I got married and I got divorced. Got 2 lovely children, beautiful children, and ended up going back to sea after that, which I became a skipper of a fishing vessel. Sailing in and out of Camberdock, Old Portsmouth, demanded to go out every day. You don't go out, you don't get paid. The person I worked for, who owned a certain amount of boats, was quite ruthless, very ruthless person. If you can't make the boat pay, basically we'll get some other monkey to run it. That's how the industry is. It is dog eat dog, and there's literally, till you know about certain things, there's no one out there looking after you. It seems like a disaster has to happen before anyone can realise that there is help, which I never knew about. Coming to the day of the incident, it was sailing back in from the Solent. We're about 17 miles out, and the boat start acting strangely, quite funny. That the stern was quite low, so we had a aft tank checked and it was full of water, and the fish room checked and that was flooded with water as well. But then I proceeded to ask my crewmen, to get the life jackets on, and I sent out a mayday call to Solent Coast Guard, who responded very quickly, very straight away. Trying to steam the boat to shore, managed to bring her in just 2 miles off the coast. She started listing. The RNLI took the crewman off, and came back to take myself off, and by then the boat went down with one of the coxswains from the lifeboat. She pulled him down, but lucky enough he surfaced. So that was quite traumatic, and it was an experience that only fishermen or seamen would know about. No other human being on earth would have that idea of what it's like being out there, depending on your radio, on the support that's out there to get you safely ashore. So we came back to shore, and everything was confusing and big days. It was like a nightmare, that you want to go away badly. You want it to go away. There's nothing you can think about. All you think about is a crew and yourself and nothing else. And you just stood there shivering, shaking on the jetty. And the owner of the vessel was more concerned about his boat than me or the crew. When you're not making the money, you can't afford rent, you can't afford to eat, and so things have to sacrifice, like where do you live? So you can't live anywhere, so you have to live on the boat. And when you can't stay on the boat, You live in a car. You're out every day. Every day you're going out fishing, catching, bringing food back in. And for some reason, mooring fees, insurance, and owners 50% before anything else doesn't leave much money to be divided for the skipper and the crew. You see these programs on TV and you see people catching fish. We are not to be counted with, the American fishermen, where they go out for king crab and that. The fishing we do is different, absolutely different. The amount that a skipper can earn on a good week, on an average week, could be £400, £500. And on a bad week, you end up in a deficit, where you're owing the owner, after working for a whole week, day in, day out, you end up owing him money. And it's a vicious circle to go in. You don't catch, you don't make money. That's why it's called fishing, not catching. So basically that's the end of the story. If you cannot find a fishing ground, if you're not catching anything, you're not making a penny. And all you're doing is putting yourself into red all the time, where you cannot survive. And I'm only not up here at Ashore, Springbok, by accident, because when the boat sank, the owner left us on the quay, literally left us there, dumped us, till the next day the Seamen's Mission came out. It was first Peter that came out from the Seamen's Mission, followed by Reverend Tim. God bless him. He was already on the ball. He knew what he had to do. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I've lost everything. By then I was living in a camper van, which my engine was blown. So I had no transport, just living in one place, isolated, no money. Then they drove me up Springbok from Portsmouth. It was a long drive. I know it was a very long drive. I had no idea where I was going. I've never heard of Ashore or the Seamen's Mission. I think, you have to have a disaster to hear about these things. I don't think they're publicised enough. I think and RNLI, yes, everyone knows about them. But places like the Ashore, I don't think there's enough advertising for them. And I'm not saying that because I'm here. I'm saying that because they've saved my life. They've saved my life in many ways. I ended up with post-traumatic stress and depression, and you need a lot of care when it's like that. And they've got fantastic staff that work here, fantastic staff. They take you to doctors, take you to all your hospital appointments, whether it's a psychiatrist, whatever, to get the care, to get whatever you need to get better. They've been a godsend, and God knows where I'd be if it wasn't for Springbok, because you're coming down complications when you go and even to sign on to try and get someone as a fisherman. It's a joke. I mean, the government system doesn't recognise self-employed fishermen. It's too much complicated. When you don't know about things, they're not going to tell you about things. And it took people like sales were here. They help you out and do everything for you. And I'm just glad to be here. A few days ago I was talking to another chap here that was in a similar situation, but he sank in the Falklands. He survived after a long stench in the water. But when someone tells you these things and you're from the same background, you don't have to go, oh, yes, I know, I see. Just look at the person and you look in his eyes and you can see the horror and you can see what a person's gone through. You have to be a seaman to understand a seaman. We are a different breed of kettle of fish, but we're good people at the end of the day. We're very good people. But we don't work 9 to 5 in offices. Boom. And I think people should realise that places like Ashore, are much needed, and they need to be recognised, because there's a lot of seafarers out there that haven't got the idea, that places like this do exist, and I can't thank them enough.